what was your first experience with the Holy Spirit that you remember? Like, what was it?
Ooh.
What happened? What was it?
I'll be really honest, and this is, I think, one of the reasons why um, I am unapologetic about my belief in the Spirit and unapologetic about inviting the Spirit in. One, because I think if you're going to see God move in a unique way, in that way, you have to be unapologetic. You can't be like, is this gonna? I mean, you can do that too because he'll show up. But usually, those individuals that are more confident in God's ability to move in the earth, they see miracle signs and wonders more than most. Um, one, because faith is the currency of the kingdom, right? So if you don't have faith or just a little faith, and again, and just it only takes a little faith to please God. But the more faith you have, the more, I'll just say this, power you are able to access within the kingdom. The more faith, because faith is the currency of the kingdom. It's one of the reasons why you see people, I've heard stories of people believing for all types of things, and God opens the door if it's in his will. But they have big faith. So big faith often produces, big results. But one of the things I was going to say is the main reason I'm so unapologetic about it is because I wasn't looking for the Spirit. Like, I wasn't like on this quest to go, God, prove it to me. Or I mean, I was just living life and the Spirit overtook me. And so it's authentic. It comes from a real place. It's like, oh man, it's not like I went to some school and said, hey, teach me about the Spirit, even though I've been to seminary and all these other things and still going to, I've been in all types of seminaries and studied a lot of places, but I didn't study to find the Spirit. The Spirit just found me. And I remember where I was at a church. I don't even know if this was an apostolic church. Definitely, it was a Spirit-filled church for sure. And bro, they were actually connected to a big movement out of Colombia. And the movement at the time was called C12. And the idea of C12 was that everybody would have 12 disciples and then everybody in the church. And it was a 100,000 person church. Wow. It got a little crazy after a while because some people believed if you didn't have 12, you were like out of the will of God. It was a lot going on. But
all right.
But they saw this movement go crazy because everybody believed they needed to have 12. And it's still the Great Commission, right? Like everybody's preaching the gospel, making disciples, it just shouldn't be legalistic. No shade to the C12 movement. But that's why some people have, disassociated. Some people stayed, but they saw great moves of God in Colombia. But this was a church, Spirit-filled. And I remember I was in the altar. I was at the altar, but also on stage because I was leading worship at the time. And we were just kind of going through the motions of song after song after song and, music. You know how worship is. You just go from song to song. And the pastor walked up. He actually was a bishop at the time. He walks up and he says, hey, can we just pause and wait on God? And I was just standing there, and I didn't lift my hands. I was just right here on stage looking around. And when he lifted his hand like this and just closed his eyes, he said, can we just wait on God? The Spirit went, whoo. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, what is going on? Like, what is this? And that was the first time. I didn't even have language for it, bro. I was just like, something just happened that I've never experienced before. I felt the atmosphere change. He wasn't screaming. He's just like, let's just wait on God. And boom. I wasn't seeking. I wasn't like, God, please. I was just standing there and I was open. I wasn't rejecting. I was just like, and then boom. Right. So I'll never forget that moment, bro. And it's funny. I ran into his son recently at a Todd Delaney concert that I was hosting. Story Church partnered with him to host it. And I came off stage and his son walked up to me. He was like, yo, what's up? I said, bro, listen. I said, he said, I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I believe, he's older than me, big brother. He's like, I remember when you were here. I said, bro, do you realize the first time I ever encountered the Spirit was at your church? He said, what? I was like, yes, I will never forget it. I mean, and Todd Delaney's on stage going crazy, and I'm like, you know.
Right.
So that was my first experience.